Hi Trader, Tina here from ShortMeTina.com with a recap. I'm gonna try not to take up too much of your time, so thanks for being here. We're gonna jump right into it, and I know, yes, blast from the past. For folks that have been following me for the past 6 years, I have not done a video in quite some time. However, if you follow me on any of those sort of social media channels, or if you're a premium member, then you would know that what we're seeing now in the market was something that I was anticipating, and I'll explain to you what I was seeing around January, late December, which made me sort of lighten up and liquidate my long positions, and why I was hesitant to open up any new position really for 2022. I think with the exception of maybe one or two, I have not initiated any long positions for 2022 because I did not like the way the markets were looking. And while technical analysis is not 100% accurate, in this particular case, it proved to be sort of like a quote unquote wise thing for me to do, to sort of like lighten up on my long positions and not to open up any new positions. However, I will say there are actually about a handful, if not more, of stocks on the market now that I'm really itching to jump in. One, I think this sort of craziness in the markets kind of like is behind us, and it might be. Anyway, what was I seeing back then? Right now, what you're looking at here, at least what I think I was seeing, was a head and shoulders top, right? So I'm going to switch to sort of a line view to make it a little bit more easier for you to see. Left shoulders, head right here, and we can say this was the formation of the right shoulder. So this pattern dates back to around July of 2021. Do the math, that's what, about 7 or 8 months or so, this pattern in the making. So neckline here. So I said to myself, well, again, head and shoulders top, bearish pattern. If we take out sort of that 430, you'll have a pullback to the downside. And I was kind of anticipating that we would end up somewhere between the low 400s and the high 300s. And where did we go? So looking at the line chart, this break here does not look sinister at all, right? It's just like a blip and then a bounce back. But I'm going to take this away now. If you look at the candlestick chart, you'll see that what we experienced when we actually had that crash, and maybe crash is not the best word, when we penetrated this neckline here, was a bit more of a sinister move, right? We went as low as 410 when a few days prior we were trading at around 460. So you had to move about 50 points down. Buyer step, and you can see it here with volume, and we actually closed up on the day, right? We closed up about north of 2%, and the preceding following day, I believe that was Friday, we actually also had an up day. So this break here of the neckline doesn't look sinister when you look at the line chart. If you look at a candlestick chart, it looks a little bit more sinister. Wasn't the pullback I was expecting. Again, we only went as low as around 410. I was expecting a little bit more of a pullback to around that high 390, low 400 area. Had that have happened, I probably would have went in with my long with long positions. So what am I seeing now? Are we out of the clear, considering that we broke that neckline and we're back above it? So for me, it's kind of like a show and tell with the market. So let's go back to the line chart. Let's just zoom in on what has been happening since we topped out back in like December of 2021. We've been in sort of like this descending sort of trend, which is characterized by lower highs, right? So are we out of the woods? Well, we are in one regard, or in one respects, right? Because we're above sort of like that neckline here around that 430 area. So heading into tomorrow, heading into tomorrow, the rest of the trading week, the rest of the trading quarter, I'm going to be paying attention once again, like I said, to sort of this descending trend line here. We closed out at 437 on Friday. Look at the futures, we're up north of 2%. So can we possibly rally tomorrow and continue? Absolutely. Do I expect that to happen? I'm not sure. But what I'm going to be paying attention to, again, is this descending trend line here. So for me, for things to look the most rosiest, we want to sort of get above that sort of 440 level and hold, right? So if we break above that 440 level and we hold, we'll be above this sort of descending trend line that started back in late December when we topped out around 480. So that's actually really what I'm looking at. Again, heading into tomorrow, the rest of the trading week, the rest of the first quarter of 2022. If we can break above that 440 level and hold, I would say on some regards we're kind of in the clear, or it'll look a lot clearer. But if we get here, we get rejected, we revisit this line. Actually, let's not go there yet. If we get to that 440 level, this descending trend line here, and we get rejected, I would be concerned. Again, for me, not ready to open up any long positions. There are some long positions that I'm paying attention to, but before I say to myself, let me deploy some cash, I'd like for the SPY to sort of like trade above that 440 level and hold. Hope that makes sense. That's what I've been paying attention to with the SPY. What else do I want to cover? All right, so I'm just gonna close it out with Bitcoin. So again, I'm invested in both. Sort of, I'm a stock market investor. I invest in the traditional markets, and I'm also in the crypto markets. And believe it or not, I'm also now in the NFT markets. Real sort of like a quick plug. If you're interested in NFTs, it's a relatively new market, and you kind of want to participate and learn, just ensure to reach out to me. I started a new project called Just DAO. I am a co-founder. I'm starting this again, or not I, but we started this project, an NFT project called Just DAO, but that's something separate. But if you're interested, make sure you just sort of contact me or follow us at Just DAO NFT on Twitter. NFT1, the number one, don't spell it out. Anyway, so the reason that I look at the S&P 500, the overall markets, is again, for me, wherever the overall markets goes, so does your stocks. And I want to apply that somewhat to the cryptocurrency market as well. So for me, I typically tend to look at Bitcoin to kind of like gauge if I should lighten up my cryptos, etc. So what I was seeing in the overall markets around the ending of December of 2021, beginning of January, I kind of sort of saw some red flags as well in the crypto markets. And I generally have been a buy and hold investor in crypto, and I still am to a degree. Like, I didn't let go of any of my Bitcoin. Like, I didn't let go of any of the stable coins, which is really just kind of Bitcoin and maybe XRP. Anything else I sort of lightened up or got rid of altogether. Some of the speculative ones, well, I mean, that's that's interesting to say. I feel like maybe all cryptocurrency might be speculative, but anyway, you know what I mean. So got rid of like sort of like those coins that have been around for maybe a year or so. So what was I looking at with Bitcoin, and why I was cautious? So this line here, and I like this line because this is around that 20,000 mark, and that's a level that has proved to be somewhat of like a pivot for us for the last couple of years with Bitcoin, right? So if you go back to around 2017, you can see here that that's where we sort of topped out before experiencing like a 2 or 3 year bear market. Fast forward to December of 2020, we retested that line, got rejected once or twice, and eventually sort of overshot that line. So when we finally overshot that 20,000 area, we ran all the way to around north of 70,000, a big run, right? And we got there around mid 2021, and that's when everyone, including myself, said, "Well, yay, Bitcoin, we're on our way to 100,000." Bitcoin had other plans. We collapsed. Took us the collapse are very fierce, right? And by fierce, I mean like we're losing 50, 60, 70%, but they recover just as quickly, right? So we kind of collapsed around July. Didn't quite get to that 20,000 mark, but we got relatively close, right? So I'm sure if we went to a candlestick chart, I'm pretty sure. Actually, let's do that. Let's see what the candlestick. Not much. Anyway, so we had this little decline after we topped out north of 70,000. We went to around 28,000. Boom, we revisited north of 70,000 again. I think we probably topped out around 68,000, and then so we can say that's a double top, and then we started this decline here. So I want to say around again the ending of December, when it looked once again like another head and shoulders top, except now we're looking at Bitcoin. I said to myself, whoa, maybe it's time to sort of lighten up. But I didn't lighten up in Bitcoin because why would I ever sell my Bitcoin? If I sell my Bitcoin, I lose them, right? I've been in Bitcoin since around 2000 and very early. I started buying from 3,000 all the way up. Anyway, so that's essentially why I decided to sort of lighten up some of the other cryptocurrencies. And while I didn't get rid of any of my Bitcoin, I knew that we were going to have a bit of a pullback. Anyway, again, so head and shoulders top, which again is a bearish pattern. So around here, when I saw the right shoulders forming, I said, all right, let me liquidate a little bit of my other more speculative currencies. And again, that also proved to be a wise decision for me because the crypto markets have not been the best. You can see here, since we topped out north of 70,000 in November of 2021, we've been in this steady decline. So sitting here at around 37, we've lost more than about 50% of value. Can things get worse? Things can always get worse. But once again, let's pay attention sort of to like this descending trend line here. So again, once topping out around north of 70 in 2021, we've had this sort of slow bleed. Earlier this month, you can see here, we actually broke through that descending trend line, which generally speaking is good, right? Once you break out of that descending trend line, things are looking up for you. But again, I never jump in on the first break. I usually like for markets to sort of like show me or prove itself to me, and that's essentially what I'm doing right now with Bitcoin. I'm kind of waiting for it to more or less prove itself before I start deploying more cash into sort of like other cryptocurrencies. I mean, I do buy sort of like the ETH and Solana, but that's only to trade NFTs either on ETH or Solana. But in terms of the other coins, pausing on those. Anyway, so what would make this market look the best to me? In all honesty, and nobody wants to hear this, sitting here at north of 40,000, we're close to 38,000 per Bitcoin. I would actually like for Bitcoin to once again retest that 20,000 line that I've been talking about that has shown itself as some sort of a pivot point for us for the past couple of years, right? So if we can pull back, right, to that 20,000 and buyers step in, what's that? That's going to signal to me that for anyone that's involved in Bitcoin, 20,000 is as low as we want it to go. So I wanted to actually retest that 20,000 area because I want to see buyers step in or people step in to hold it up, right? So if people can do that, if the markets or investors can step in and say, well, you know, at that crucial 20,000 level, and they say, you know what, we don't want it to go any lower. For me, that's going to signal that, wow, 20,000 market sentiment wise is as low as folks want Bitcoin to go. So again, for me, I'd want it to sort of retest that 20,000 area. If we can hold, I'd be super confident. I'd start throwing money at Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, and not just using it to buy NFTs, but actually holding it to appreciate. When is that going to happen? I don't know. But again, I'm going to wait and see. I'm taking a wait and see approach with crypto, wait and see approach with the S&P 500. And so really quickly, let me just shoot off. I'm not going to talk about levels, but I'm going to shoot off the stocks that I'm definitely going to get into once the market looks a bit rosier. What do we want to start off with? I like Roblox, ticker RBLX. I know the chart looks like horrendous, but I think again the reason that we didn't hold sort of like this support line of around 60 to 62 is because of what's going on in the market. I can't imagine that this is going to go much lower. Just waiting for things to taper off in the overall markets, and I'm telling you, man, mark my words, you're looking at a stock that can literally double and triple by like summertime. You're seeing it at 50 here. Mark, timestamp this. with a rosy market, you can see this at around 200. I'm telling you, telling you. All right, Unity, again, doesn't look so good. We're sitting here at around 104. I think we were, last week we were trading around 80, 90. We're trading very close to support. Not the best pattern emerging here, right? You can call this sort of like a rounding top, which is a bearish pattern. There's a possibility that we can breach this line here of around 80, this line of support. We can potentially breach it if the market tanks. But even with that said, I like Unity because, well, one, I think the chart is going to clean up itself a bit. But you know, getting into Unity is a way to sort of get into the NFT market without buying NFTs, because a lot of the games that are being a lot of the NFT games are being built on Unity software. So again, it's a way to get into the NFT market without actually purchasing NFTs. So I like Unity. Another stock with the potential to double. Mark my words. What else? All right, Hood. I am super, I'm gonna switch to candlestick. Super, surprised by the price action in Hood. The chart is horrible. I would never, ever tell anyone to buy a chart like this, because obviously, generally speaking, good charts go up, they don't go down. But you know, I like the idea of Robinhood. Right, so we're sitting here at 1161. Crazy, after it IPO, the stock peaked at 85. So it's very surprising to see it here at 1161. I think a few days ago it was trading at around $9. What I'm waiting for now, and I actually like to play these sort of reversals, right? The stocks that like eventually selling dries up. Like that's just the nature of things, and it's looking very much so like selling is about to dry up. When that's gonna happen, will it dry up at around $10 or $9? Will we have more of a sinister move to the downside? Is it gonna be cut in half by 40-50%? All these things are possibilities. Hence why I'm not in the stock right now. I'm not in the trade, but I'm paying attention, because once things reverse, I think this is the type of stock that can literally do like a GME. So pay very close attention to Hood. I'm not saying to jump in now, but I'm gonna be watching this like a hawk. What else? All right, and so let's just sum it up real quick. We have Tesla here. Who doesn't want to get into Tesla? Sitting here at 800. Again, another sinister pullback with the overall markets. One as low as 700. So in a day, this managed to put up 100 points. Insanity. But like Tesla, definitely a stock that you can see in the 1,000, 2,000s. Datadog, this is definitely a trade that I took a lot in 2021. I think when all was said and done, I think I made something like 50 to 60% just trading in and out of Datadog. I still like it. You can see here, support is around 120. Will we get there? I don't know, but my line is always drawn. In case it gets there, then that might be a trade that I'm going to jump in. Still looking at Datadog, and who doesn't like AMD, right? Again, so a lot of these stocks, as you can see, mimicking the overall markets. The overall markets are not doing so well. These stocks are not going to do so well. But AMD, another runner. I've been watching this stock since it was at $9. Took it from 9 to 18. From 9 to been in this stock in and out this stock for a very long time. So I like AMD. So those are some of the stocks that I'm paying attention to. The charts don't look so promising, and I think that has a lot to do with the overall markets. But once things turn around, whatever level I spoke to you about with the SPY, I think it was like a sustained break above 440. If we can get that, these stocks are going to start cooking. Doesn't even make any sense. Whatever. These stocks will probably start to do what I think they're going to do. So that's kind of it. Hopefully the video wasn't too long. Hopefully you got a little bit out of it. I don't remember what my ending spiel was. I think it was something like just follow me, right? But anyway, thank you guys for sticking it out. Thank you for still being here after so long. If you're new and you want to kind of know some of the tricks or some of the things that I have done for the past 2 decades to go from being a trader that consistently lost to being consistent and winning and putting up sort of like, or getting these gains of like 40, 50, 100%. And I'm not just talking penny stocks. I really don't trade penny stocks like that, but sort of like these bigger names like the AMDs, the Tesla, the Roblox. I trade micro, small, mid, large caps. I do it all. But anyway, if you want to find out some of the things or some of the timing lessons that I've learned, definitely head on over to ShortMeTina.com. I have tons of lessons that I've uploaded for anyone who wants it for free. I think I just ask for your email address so I can know where to send that to. Anyway, guys, hopefully I'll get back on the mic before the week is out. It's been fun, and again, I hope you guys learned something. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.